Cage, like, no meme, you know, the
All right.
face. Everybody loves that face, don't they?
All right. All right.
All right, we are officially live. Welcome to the behind the scenes where you guys get a first look of everything going on. I've got Aaron. I'm going to screw up your last name. I should have said something right before the show. I'm going to screw up your last name. No. I'd rather you say it. Go right ahead.
Sure. Yeah, sure. It's Aaron Duquette. And,
I would have gotten it right. Yes.
Oh, good. See, like, a telemarketer would have said Aaron Duckett, which would not be inaccurate historically. It derived from Duckett. So, but yes, it's Aaron Duquette. Yes.
See, I would have gotten it right, but I was scared. I was worried. I don't like... unlike Doc, who just throws out names willy-nilly, I'm trying not to. I don't like doing that, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, goodness. Let me see here. Okay, so 2 minutes until we go live on the radio where everybody gets to see everything and all that good fibberty gibbets that are going on. Let's see what's up. By the way, we have Aaron for a unspecified amount of time, so if you guys have any questions about term limits, go ahead and post them in, you know, on the Facebook feeds, on either the Mojo or the DOAE show page. Either way, it's all good. We'll see how that works out. All right, let's see what's going on. Boom. Mason, nice to see you, sir. Oh, let's see. There's some crazy stuff going on recently. I mean, have you felt like the news, one day in the news, to me, is just like 3 weeks?
You know, I had that same thought today that so much we imbibe so much of the news today that are we going to run out of space in our heads? Mm-hmm. You know, for all the fit and everything is an outrage. So
no, I mean,
we forget it in a month because there's only so much emotional bandwidth we have to digest everything. You know,
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, we're going to forget it in a month anyway. Who cares, right?
All right, right.
I just going through it, man. It just burns me a little bit because it's just.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even the stories that we have that I have going through. I mean, one or two of these is from like yesterday, but everything's basically today's news. I mean,
sure. No, there is nothing new under the sun.
No.
At the end of the day.
Definitely not. Never has been, never will be. Hey, we got cell phones. Yeah. People have always had communication. Yeah. It's just how it is. Let's see. Levels seem good. Everything seems right. I like it. That's good. Yes. I wonder what's going on there. Oh, well. I'm not going to worry about that for now. All right. So, I'm going to mute and hit the music. You'll be able to hear it this time, so it's all good. Hold on. Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Defenders of American Exceptionalism. We are live. You can find us on Facebook at DOAE Show. Actually, you can find us everywhere at DOAE Show. You can also find us live right now on Mojo 50 Radio, which is also the / on Facebook, where you can find us live on the video stream. Look at us there, find us there. Also, go to our website, DOAEshow.com, and when you do, please go to all the articles in the stories section, and when you go there, you can see Dylan's latest post. Yes, he is still with us in spirit, if nothing else. Please keep a prayer on. He should be back by the beginning of the year, which is very, very hopeful. And if you do go to our website, make sure to go to the shop. Get yourself some really nice mugs, kind of like these. You can either get the Eagle or you can get the Principles of a Privilege. Very inexpensive and very high quality. I'll tell you what. They're like embossed. It's really cool. It's very nice. Aaron Duquette.
Hello.
How you doing today, sir?
I'm well. Glad to be here.
Awesome. You are with the United States Term Limits, otherwise known as termlimits.com. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
All right, so tell the
Yes.
people what you are doing and why.
Sure. So I'm a state director here in Kentucky and West Virginia, and what we are after, to make the goal real simple, is that we want to see congressional term limits happen in D.C. We're sick and tired of seeing lifetime career politicians there in D.C. We need to send a few home.
Very nice, very nice. So, if the people don't, we have a very educated audience, obviously. Jackals everywhere. So, just in case, give them a little bit of an education on how you're doing this and in what ways we can help.
Sure, you bet. So, under Article 5 of the Constitution, it provides the provisions for which we can amend the Constitution. When the founders created the document, they knew that in time there would need to be some alterations and some edits and tweaks here and there to make things keep going. And they left a couple provisions for that to happen. The one way that we all know, and it's a kind of the schoolhouse rocks, stuff we learned in some civics and in our public education, which was, Congress, 2/3 of both house, pass a proposal and agree upon that, and then it goes up to the state legislatures for ratification.
So
what is
the whole "I'm just a bill" thing,
Kind of, I'm just an amendment proposal. Yeah, it doesn't have the same ring.
Yeah,
exactly.
Not quite. Yeah,
I think they left it out, but we all kind of heard some gist of that, even if we're half awake in 7th grade civics. So the other half of that is the most well-hidden secret in American constitutional history, which is the other half of Article 5. The founders were pretty prescient to understand that there would come a time when Congress itself would need to be checked, and it would not, being a human institution, it would not act to check its own power. It is not in the interests or of the nature of human beings to check their own power. And so they provided another means by which we can do that, and that's through the state legislatures. So the other half of Article 5 provides that 2/3 of the states, or today that would be 34 states of the 50, agree upon convening to propose an amendment, agreeing upon one topic in particular, and once they do, they can come together. Representatives from all 50 states can come together and provide for occasion to propose an amendment. In our case, we're looking for a term limits amendment, and after that goes up for ratification, just like the former mode.
Gotcha. So, it seems like our founders were a little bit smarter than we give them credit for. They understood the nature of man, and they understood the relationship that man has with each other. And it seems like they even understood the corruption of man once power was part of the equation.
Absolutely.
I would have to say that based on that, pretty smart folks.
I would have to agree with you. If you study the document, as I'm sure we all do, it's not a document that invests a whole unlimited power in some sole individual or class of people, but they understood that human beings are such that they want control for themselves. And if they don't have it, they will seek control over others. And so they very wisely put a number of checks and balances throughout the document that pits power against power structurally to check those human impulses so that it didn't bring the whole republic down. So this Article 5 route was an example of one of those measures, and I would suggest to us it's deeply and essentially needed today because I can't imagine what it's going to take to force Congress to, by supermajorities, term limit themselves. We have in our own doorsteps, in our own states, state legislators that can advocate for us in that way, and that's what we're after.
So, there are a lot of people out there, especially on the conservative side, that they don't want to drive something that would be what people would conceive as really divisive, even on the conservative side. They don't want to drive a divide. They don't want to stir the pot, as it would. Even though technically you and I would both agree that this is something that everybody should agree with. Politicians stink, and just like diapers, they should be changed often. But they would tell us that term limits aren't necessary because, we have the American people, and the American people can set the term limits by voting people out. What do you say to that?
Yeah, it's been quipped out there that we have term limits. They're called elections, and all that's a kind of a cute sound bit. It doesn't really pan out. Consistently, over 90% of elections that involve incumbents result with the incumbent being reelected.
I was going to say that you don't have proof of that or anything.
Well, the other statistic that couples with that is that the consistent polling of approval of Congress is very, very low, in the teens, mid-teens. Mm-hmm. So how is it that we approve so lowly of their performance, and yet they are rehired and they're recontracted so often? How is that? Well, they get entrenched with the DC bureaucrats, bureaucracy, and the lobbyists, mm-hmm. and they make a career of it, and all that money coming in from those lobbyists keeps them in their pocket. They have long-term relationships that they protect, and those lobbyists kind of own those individuals. And it really, all that money just drowns out any opposition in the primary season. And so, you don't hear about the other candidates that are trying to get out there and trying to get their message out because it's completely drowned out. And so we end up with this, well, do I want this one or this one? I have a choice of two in the same blue and red choices. Well, if you're a member of one party or the other, you might want to have other choices available to you prior to that point. And so, what it suggests is that what term limits will bring is a structural, equal application of limitation, a structural limitation, mm-hmm. Upon the seats of Senate and Congress. And what that does is provides a pretty steady stream of fresh blood and new perspectives and new ideas, and it really dissuades the aspirations for lifelong going to make a career of this, and it's really going to bring about a citizen legislature that our founders envisioned we have. A citizen legislature where going to DC and serving there is almost taking one for the team. I mean, that's really how it should be, but instead it's living large at the expense of your constituency.
Yeah, well, that's so what you're telling me is, uh-oh.
Am I there?
You're like there, and you're also recycling through. It's weird.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So, hold on. There we go. All right. So, one of the funny things that I find, and that, sorry, that was a weird loop that was going on with the feeds there. So, what you're saying is that the founders intended that we would have people that would go through and they would stay for a few years, serve as servants, and then go back to doing their regular job?
Then return to reality, yes. It's kind of a novel concept. When we have sitting senators talking about, I've sat on this committee for 44 years, mm-hmm. And my eyebrows go up through the roof. That's way too long, sir.
I've been sitting on this for 47 years.
Yeah, you've been sitting too long. I think we need to dust off that chair and maybe let some other voices in.
Is that like Bane from Batman? I was born in the dark.
Yeah. I was born in the Senate Judiciary Committee. Yes.
Oh no, that is the dark. It's so terrible.
Yeah. So we're after, we want to get fresh perspectives and new blood in there. I mean, I think a lot of the tensions that we see in this country right now are exacerbated by the fact that we keep dealing with the same power players there in D.C. Year after year, decade after decade, we're seeing these same people that are just so confident in their seats that they can get away with murder, and I think Americans across the board, 82% of Americans polled favor term limits. Of the remaining percentage, 9% are opposed and 9% weren't sure. right? And so I think of even that last 9%, how many of them could be sat down and just discussed with.
And that's kind of the thing. I mean, as long as you explain to the people what it is,
right?
They'll understand. All right, that music sounds the break, and we will be right back. And as everybody can hear on the radio, or not on the radio, but on Facebook Live, I don't have any commercials anymore because I took them out. They're useless. I don't like them. I don't want them. They're gone. So this is all going to be cut out of the regular feed. But while you're watching on radio, Aaron, how long do I have you, sir?
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Hang on to me.
Yeah, I got you. I'm just asking, how long do I have you for?
Oh, I don't know. Probably another half hour.
Okay, cool.
That's
so
not fair?
Almost to the end. All right, that's not bad.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
That'll be that last. Hopefully, we'll get you to that third break, and that'll be over soon. So
you bet.
We have like 2 minutes before the actual bell going through. Any other last words you want to tell people that are watching right now live?
Sure. Just give you a sense of our progress. I think a lot of folks remember, okay, well, this sounds like a great idea. I would love to see term limits happen. I can go and talk to my state legislature. How do I do this? And, how close are you? Well, by our estimation, we feel we're at 25 of the 34 states. Between aggregation of various existing resolutions that have been passed in the states. We're working on adding Kentucky and West Virginia here and under my domain here. If folks want to really look into that, they can check out, go to termlimits.com and check out the petition there. There's a petition that'll be sent right to your legislators to saying, hey, I want to see term limits happen. You have my support there.
Cool. There you go, and that pretty much does it there. And so, other than the petition, is there anything anybody can do outside of that?
You bet. If you're really feeling kind of jazzed up and you've got some time on Election Day, we put out a call to action today to, depending on how state laws are state to state, but you can set up a table and gain more petitions at voting centers. Different voting centers. Yeah, I guess in Maine, a friend of mine was telling me that they're actually allowed to set up like inside the polling station, which I thought was amazing.
Wow, that's weird.
But if not, standing outside with clipboard, that kind of thing. But just getting more grassroots support behind it, I think that just catches the eyes of state legislators, and we'll be pushing hard. If they want to get involved and volunteer, there's access to do that as well at termlimits.com. Gotcha. So bring it on.
Cool. All right, so we got like 15 seconds before the buzzer, and so I'm just gonna kind of hit a little bit of radio silence here until it hits out. And we're back. Defenders of American Exceptionalism. You can hear us live right now on Mojo 50, as well as IPM Nation, Lanterns Radio, Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, and pretty much everywhere else that you can get a podcast. Look for Defenders of American Exceptionalism. And if you go find us on anywhere that's social media, it's DOAE Show, because we are a bit wordy in our name. So our name is a bit long. So DOAE Show, DOAEshow.com, and all the streams DOAE Show. Now, if you're just joining us, we have Aaron Duquette. Duquette.
Oh, you had it. You had it. It's Duquette.
I'm messing with you.
Oh, you got
it. He's with us. He's from U.S. Term Limits. That's termlimits.com. If you go there, you can sign a petition to help push your state over the limit. Right now, they got about 25 states for an amendment for term limits using the Article 5 of the Constitution. Now, you were talking about in the break. You were mentioning that some people are actually able to set up posts in in the voting in the polling places. Is that right?
So it's dependent upon state by state laws and how things are run in individual states. I know just offhand, but that in Maine, you can actually make arrangements to set up a booth and gain signatures for this effort even within the polling station itself. But for a lot of states, it might be a certain number of feet away from the station or out in front with a clipboard, that kind of thing. But we're doing a kind of a push to garner, where our ambitious goal is to get 10,000 new petition signers on election day. Doesn't matter what political party you are, we are tremendously nonpartisan. Gotcha. Because Republicans and Democrats don't get along, but everyone hates Congress. So we're after that.
That is very true. That is very true. You know what else I find funny? Speaking of polling places, apparently there's a new campaign that seeks to ban guns at polling places. All together. So Guns Down America, starting a new campaign to keep guns out of polling places during the November midterm election. Now, Guns Down America is also the same one that was doing like abortion stuff recently, which is really weird because they're guns down and not abortion. But I mean, they're leftist. What are you going to do? You can't hold them to a standard. Specifically, the campaign wants voters to text "guns down" to 91990 to report anyone seen with a firearm at a polling place. In turn, the information will be sent to a nonpartisan election protections expert who may contact police and send a lawyer to a polling place. Really? Aaron, got anything for that?
Well, I'll put it this way. U.S. term limits are a truly nonpartisan effort without the scare quotes at all. And, we're really after, again, you're really, what you're bringing up is more the division that we see in the country, and just being pushed more and more into extremes, and people are really tired of that. And I want to encourage anyone that watching this today that you have an ability to change that. The founders have provided you an avenue when you're at a point of feeling fairly disenfranchised by the way Congress behaves. That you have an avenue to rectify that situation. And you know what? Those people are right in your own state, and you can make arrangements to meet with those people in person. You don't have to be some person with clout or anything to meet with your state representative or your state senator. A lot of people, I think, have a misconception that they're sort of, removed from themselves. And if you involve yourself a little bit, you find out they're your neighbors. They're just a guy or a gal that you know from down the street, and they're great to know, and it's wonderful to experience and develop a relationship with them. But we need all the help we can to make sure this happens. We think there can be a number of sort of side effects of term limits happening. And you think of what would a Senate or what would the House of Representatives look without a number of these old timers that have been there for how many years?
However many it was.
Before I was born. I mean, I'm 36, and Leahy's been on the Judiciary Committee for 44 years. I mean, to me, that's a giant length of time for a guy to go on and serve, so to speak.
Yeah, that's not good. He's not
just way too long. Yeah. I wonder if it gets inverted and that we end up serving our rulers, our ruling class, out in D.C. And I think that's something that Democrats and Republicans, lo and behold, there is something we can agree on. And I think pretty emphatically that it isn't fair. It isn't a real reflection of the voice of the people in the House of Representatives when you have such a high incumbency rate.
Now, if I took out the names, of
Sure.
this next story,
yes, sir, everybody
should agree with this.
There you go.
State Department provides clearly false statement to derail requests to a federal judge said. The State Department provided clearly false statements to derail requests for certain documents for a very specific person, a federal judge says. Now, not naming the person, not doing anything. Everybody would agree State Department shouldn't be giving out false claims to derail a federal investigation. Yes?
Correct.
Not
I think we're thinking of very much along the same lines today. Earlier today, I was thinking about this, that if you take any number of stories out there on the news cycle and just substitute. I was thinking along the lines of substituting names, substituting categories of people, and how outrageous it would be for one set of people when the one word is set in versus the other set. It changes the reaction entirely. We become fairly irrational in our discourse that we are so attached to, okay, this is how I'm supposed to act, this is how I'm supposed to respond because it's that person,
right.
Rather than the real principles at play here. What have you with due process, right? I mean, I think everyone, I still think everyone does believe, or most people do believe in a sense of due process, but it's become a point where we're allowing excuses of due process when it's not our guy.
And to keep those corrupt people in office for the next 75 years.
Right.
So, in a combative exchange at a hearing on Friday in Washington, D.C., a federal judge unabashedly accused career State Department officials of lying and signing clearly false affidavits to derail a series of lawsuits seeking information about the Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, and her private email server and her handling of the 2012 terrorist attack in the U.S. consulate on Benghazi in Libya. That being said, obviously, we know what it's about now. We know who it's about. So everybody back to your corners. But but at the same point in time, if you take out Clinton, you take out Benghazi, you take out private email servers, clearly false affidavits, lying, etc., from our State Department to cover up for the Secretary of State, when they did something not only illegal in many, many, many counts. I mean, like several thousand counts of illegal, but also immoral.
Yep.
I mean, that makes sense, right?
Are you telling me that D.C. is corrupt? Is that there's corruption?
No.
Oh.
Never.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, I thought I would just double check. I wasn't quite sure.
They're like the best people in the world. They're like apple pie, or American pie. In that way, I don't. Oh, that's wrong. That's ew. Anyway, the U.S. District Court Judge Royce Lammerth. And there's the music. He said he was dumbfounded and shocked by what he learned when he talked to the FBI. With that, we will be right back after this commercial break. Look at that. There we go.
Hey.
Another segment down. Man, it looks like all the guys are at the Cigars and Spirits Festival in Texas right now.
Jealous. Hey, I gotta go. Is it going on through the weekend?
It's in Texas, man. It's in Texas.
Okay. Sounds good.
Right? Yeah, so like the entire Mojo crew has been that's in Texas. They're all down there. And that's also including the Spoonie people.
Oh, wonderful.
So they're all down there. Everybody's they're probably all boozed up and tobacco.
And you're back here with the green screen.
I'm back here with shh. Nobody knows it's a green screen. Shush.
Oh, I mean with a fantastic, amazing background.
Yeah, there you go. So glad it's commercial break. Oh, my goodness. No, but yeah, so they have the Cigar and Spirits weekend. And that's all that's doing, like whiskeys, locally grown, like locally brewed, locally grown everything.
Beautiful.
And so all the guys are there doing that junk. And all I can find is the fact that all of my feeds have been crushed stupendously from Facebook. Like we posted this thing and shared it like 7 million times, and like for some reason the Facebook is just not picking up the feeds right. It's weird. It is so weird. Anyway, hey Tori, how's it going? Good to see you on. Let's see, about another minute and a half before the show actually hits back again. Oh man, I'll tell you what, it's just been crazy. Can you just think about this with this guy? Really shocked and dumbfounded. This judge was shocked and dumbfounded that corrupt politicians were lying. Really? Don't worry.
In related news,
area,
man lives under rock for 20 years.
Everything in this part will be cut out. Don't worry.
Right. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. I don't.
Was that man a politician?
Judge.
Okay, because only a politician would be shocked.
Yeah, right. I am shocked and appalled. Shocked and appalled. I tell you what.
It's a Casablanca moment right there. That is. Shocked. There's gambling going on here.
I'm shocked. Shocked, I say. Here's looking at you, kid. And we're back. You're listening to Defenders of American Exceptionalism. I have Aaron Duquette with me for, I guess, this is going to be the last segment with you. But, and for people that don't know, that's Aaron Duquette. He is with the U.S. Term Limits. You can go to termlimits.com. You can sign the petition. You can also figure out how to set up your own booth. If you are really into it, get a new petition for yourself. If people want to reach you specifically, Aaron, like if they have specific questions that they want to reach you about, especially in the Kentucky or West Virginia area, how do they reach you?
You bet they can. So my email address is aduquette@termlimits.com. So that's spelled ADUKETTE@termlimits.com.
There you go. So Aaron Duquette at termlimits.com, aduquette@termlimits.com. So, Los Angeles having a little bit of a problem. You wouldn't know it. I mean, with the homeless situation and everything else going on, never would you notice. But apparently, there's a flea-borne bacterial disease hitting the entirety of Los Angeles, and it's typhus. So, what's that liberalism getting you? I'm just wanting to know. You see, Los Angeles is in the midst of a growing outbreak of a flea-borne typhus in the city's downtown areas of homeless populations being hit especially hard. You know, it's kind of one of those situations where, you know, back in the Industrial Revolution, everybody got sick and the Black Plague and everything happened because everybody was sitting literally on top of each other and living in each other's filth. And now you have the same thing happening in Los Angeles and in, San Francisco and everything else where they're literally crapping on the streets, living in their own filth, living in each other's filth, sharing needles while they're doing drugs and everything else. And there's no surprise that the insects that are carried on the rats and everything else are coming to attack the humans. And when they do, they carry illness. No. You see, it's not uncommon to see clustered cases each year of in the area of Los Angeles of flea-borne typhus. It's endemic in Los Angeles County. Apparently, in recent years, the average number of reported cases went up to nearly 60 cases per year, and in 2018, there have been 63 cases in the county, according to the Los Angeles Department of Health. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but 63 cases of any disease could become millions. So they're a bit curious about why it's happening. You see, typhus refers to a group of infectious diseases caused by Rickettsia bacteria. Yeah, see? Got that. I got that. That has the double T as well. Rickettsia.
Well done.
Yeah.
You're 2-0 on your double T names.
Double T names right there. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, getting it down. Which can spread to humans by fleas, ticks, bites, chiggers, and body lice. Yay. It's not the same as typhoid fever, thankfully. Bacterial infection that spreads through contaminated food and water, and should be prevented with disease. See, flea-borne typhus, also called marine typhus, murine. It's murine, M-U-R-I-N-E, murine typhus, is transmitted to humans by being bitten, and that's all they do. And see, the fleas poop after they bite, and that's what's causing the sickness and illness, because they get bitten, then they poop, and after they poop, the poop gets in the bite, and the bite causes an infection. Yay.
That is thoroughly disgusting.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank God I live in Kentucky. I mean, we have ticks here, but they don't even carry Lyme disease.
You're very, very lucky that they don't carry Lyme's disease. I mean, even where I'm at, North Carolina, they do carry some sort of diseases every now and again, especially you get the Lone Stars and all that jazz.
No.
But here's another one, and this is really, really bothersome. You see, now we're going to go all the way to Toronto. So we go from the liberal bastion of Los Angeles now to the socialist country of Canada. You see, in Toronto, they have hospitals for children. And they're now prepping work for assisted suicide for those children without the informed consent of parents. You're killing children now because you don't have the money or the wherewithal to treat them properly. How is this? This isn't good. See, the oft-mocked slippery slope argument from conservatives like myself with regards to euthanasia is coming to fruition in Canada. The last 18 months, the group of medics from Toronto's Hospital for Sick Children outlined their plan for administering medical-assisted suicide for patients under age of 18 in the near future. The paper, published by the British Medical Journal, asserts that their commitment to patient confidentiality with such hypothetical children, stating that the likely cases were a capable child patient could undergo the assisted suicide without parents being informed first. See, this article explores the ethical challenge of providing medical assistance in dying. Quote, MAID. See, they make acronyms for everything, even in the hospital side. In the pediatric setting, more specifically, we focus on the theoretical questions that came to light when we were asking to develop a policy for responding to MAID requests at our tertiary pediatric institutions. This is from the paper directly. So basically, what they're going through is they already have a policy for assisted suicide, just like many states in North Carolina, in the U.S. North Carolina, I think, not one of them yet, thankfully. But along that, they are now providing assistance and thinking about providing assistance, especially in medical journals, which will mean that in the next 2 years, it'll probably be processed. They're going to be killing kids and calling it assisted suicide without the parents' consent. And the doctors who make a Hippocratic oath, not hypocritical, Hippocratic. There's a difference. And you should know it. They make an oath to heal, not to kill. And these doctors are flipping that on its head.
Notice the Orwellian perversion of language and all that too. The statement that they're committed to the preservation of patient confidentiality.
Yeah.
You read what that language really says is that we're committed to the abduction of children from their parents.
Right.
That is, the state, raises, rears, and does what it will with children, not the parents. So they're not actually committed to this individual creature that is the child's wishes, but really to their own. Right. It's really quite chilling. It is what this is.
It's rather scary. It actually hits a nerve with me because my entire I've got 4 kids. Personally, I don't know about you. I have 4 kids. 8 to like 6 months. 8 years to 6 months, and to think that a doctor. I mean, we've had Charlie Gard. We've had over in the UK. We've had a couple of other situations where the hospital literally just takes over the parental rights and says, you know what, we know better than you, and we don't care what you're going to do. You aren't going to take this kid out of our care. And then they go through the entire process and basically let the kid die with dignity. That's what they're going to propose here. A dying with dignity, meaning that the kid is going to choose to be murdered by drug. What are we doing?
It strikes at the heart of what do we consider to be a child anymore? And on the one hand, our culture has a thrust of overprotecting our children, so that they're sort of incapable. They're infants until they're 30. Yeah. On the other hand, we throw them into the darkest corners of anything, the internet with all this junk. We throw them into things that they actually genuinely and authentically should be protected from. So we are an incredibly hypocritical culture that exalts youth and destroys youth.
For real, that is for certain. That is exactly what we do.
Right, and now it's starting to take on literal form.
Yeah, I mean, we're taking a child and we're saying, oh no, that child should definitely at the age of 8 be able to determine whether or not they should themselves live or die. After we've coached them for the last 6 months, telling them that they're going to die a horrible, painful death, even if they live up to the age of 18, we're just going to coach them until they basically come to the conclusion on their own that they want to die. And so then we won't have to worry about. We can just administer the drug. It'll all be quiet. They'll slip into a nice, gentle sleep and never wake up. Honestly.
Right.
Because that's what they're talking about here.
And there's very little words to say for it other than it's just pure evil thinking. Say what you will about an adult making that decision
on the road.
I think there's far more breadth of controversy there, or reasonable discussion that can be had in that regard. And maybe we might conclude. I think I've heard Ted Cruz say a couple years ago that it's between a man and his maker. But a 12-year-old with cancer?
No, sorry.
Right. We are all of a sudden fast forwarding that child's development but by a dozen years, and treating them that way. And really, what is it really? Are we really treating them like adults and individuals? No, we're treating them like parts of the collective that's governed by the state. Right.
We're treating them like they're just another number. And once that number's time is up, because we don't want to deal with it anymore, now we're just going to push the button and you're going to go away.
It's a hell of a time to raise a kid.
It boggles my mind to think that while, and this is another reason why I really would like term limits in these places for our government and everything else. And I know it's like it sounds like it's kind of a reach, but to get term limits in place so that we can get people that are actually close enough to human to understand that these laws and legislation do not need to get passed.
We don't like what they're doing, kick them out.
Exactly. You're listening to Dio's show. We'll be right back. All right, looks like we're about quarter till. If you'd like to kick out so you can get done with what you got.
Yeah, I got to make that call. I wish I'd hang otherwise, though.
Hey, man, make that call.
It's been fun. It's been fun. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks for sticking with us. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
Yep. That was Aaron Duquette. Aaron Duquette. Awesome guy. Fun to work with. Fun to talk to. Great all around. Boom. Kill that there. Get this guy, y'all. Move me over a little bit. There we go. And there we are. Check that out. Brand new stuff. Thankfully, Aaron was able to join us. That was awesome. Glad to see he was there. Get this going here. Boom. Got another minute or so before the break hits. Let me see. Brian. I don't know, dude. The Pelosi ambush, I saw it. I mean, meh, maybe. I don't know. I can't tell. They might be something else. We could send them Democrat bullies, you know. No, see, that's the thing. We don't need to be like the Democrats. We don't need to bully them out of their place. We don't need to do the same tactics that they do. Because when we do that mess, when we go through and we just burn bridges and force the tactics and everything else, it hurts us in the long run. It hurts us. It's just, when we do that, it really hurts us in our name. Just like if you let them do their thing and burn out, it will hurt them in the end. Like it is now, like it's going forward. It's just, that's what's going to happen. You can't force it, but that's what it is. About another minute. Yeah, it was pretty messed up. I just had to talk about it. Got some more medical stuff coming up on the other side of the break here. When we actually get through. Trump doing some good stuff, finally. Boom, boom, boom. And we're back. You're listening to Defenders of American Exceptionalism. We are live. This is the last segment of tonight's show. Just had Aaron Duquette on. You can go to termlimits.com, or you can go to termlimitsconvention.com. Either way, if you go there, you can get everything that you need from him and his side. You can sign up for that. If you are in the Kentucky or West Virginia area and you want more information that they can't give on the website, go to ADUKETTE at termlimits.com. That's Duquette at termlimits.com. You'll be able to reach him there, and everything will be fine and dandy. So, we just dropped off of Canada basically saying, two things happened in Canada this week, didn't they? Canada did two things. One, they came out and made weed legal, and on that exact same day, two things happened. One, everybody was waiting around the corner, and two, it was sold out, which means that they didn't have any more. They didn't have enough stock, and it's now sold out. Everybody's going to have to wait 6 to 8 weeks before they can see their marijuana distributor, before they can get new weed up in Canada. And they also decided to, possibly produce an idea that they're going to kill children that are technically on their deathbed, but they're going to go ahead and kill them with assisted suicide. That's great. So, in that vein, Trump, our good old president, Mr. Trump, has signed a right to try. The right to try, allowing gravely ill patients, people on their deathbeds, to bypass the FDA and just go on with experimental treatments. This is for adults or the parents of children after they've had discussions with their kids. So President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence have been major supporters of this right to try legislation, which would bypass drug regulators and give gravely ill patients experimental medicines and access to them. So proponents say that it'll give patients hope, and critics say that the legislation it undermines the authority of the FDA, which, by the way, the FDA is stupid anyway. They tell us many things are safe when they aren't. They have regulations that say you can have X amount of bugs in food, stupid crap like that, hormones, nastiness, all that junk. They regulate and tell the companies they can have that stuff in there. They also have a terrible time with getting things pushed through regulation, and after they do, normally they don't police it very well. So I'm not really that fond of them in the first place. They had a place at the very beginning, I guess, but at the same point in time, no, not really. Now we have the laws in place, and the FDA not really there. So this could the critics say that it could leave patients vulnerable to medicines that might not work or may even be harmful. Well, duh. They're called experimental for a reason. And by the way, what drug isn't harmful? See, President Trump signed the right to try bill into law on Wednesday, which bypassed the drug regulators. The legislation allows patients with life-threatening conditions to ask drug makers for medicines that have cleared some testing but still haven't been approved by the FDA. Previously, patients would need to ask the FDA for access. Why? Anyway, Trump and Pence, they've been huge supporters. Basically, what it does is it allows certain patients to ask drug makers for medicines that passed phase 1 of the FDA approval process, but haven't been approved yet because of ongoing testing. So basically, it allows them to make themselves guinea pigs if it helps them and if it helps somebody else, or even if it harms them. Obviously, they'd have to sign a whole bunch of waivers. Commissioner Scott Gottlieb has said that the agency grants 99% of these requests in a statement on Wednesday. Gottlieb, wow, that guy's name is weird. Anyway, said that the FDA is ready to implement the right to try legislation. The FDA is dedicated to achieving their goals that Congress sets forth in legislation so that patients facing terminal conditions have an additional avenue to access promising investigational medicines, he says. So what this is saying is that everybody's on board with this except for certain critics, and those being just specific people that are Democrats, I guess. This legislation was pushed by our Congress, which means that the bill went through the process and went through the House and went through the Senate. It got to the president's desk, and the president was able to sign it. And he signed it. Oh my goodness. Why is that? It's a story because it has to be, but it's also a story because it shows the government does actually work when everything is working like it should. When you don't have these people trying to stonewall and brick things out and all the other mess that we have to deal with on a daily basis. Speaking of mess on a daily basis, I am Spartacus, says Canada is out Americaning the United States. At least he got some immediate blowback. You see, Cory Booker was blasted on social media for comments he made about Canada being more American than the United States. Trudeau, give me a break. Booker was speaking at students at Allen University in South Carolina to help get out the vote for Democrats ahead of the midterm election. Bad move, Booker. Stick to New Jersey. He said that other countries, including Canada, were out-Americaning the U.S. by providing cheaper college opportunities. Do you not know what they tax? Other people talking about college debt. You've got to be kidding me, Booker said. Every country we are competing with is driving down the cost of college. By the way, the cost of college is not indicative of what the government says. The college that is pushing it in place is allowed to change their price. Booker? Guess what? Based on inflation, colleges have charged 400% more than inflation since the 80s. 400%. That's not because of government regulation. That is because the college and the people who run it and the administrative staff, not the teachers, the administrative staff have decided to bloat the entire college process, get themselves good, cushy jobs that they can't get fired from, and then gouge everybody coming into the society. And then you also add into the fact that people are allowed to get loans at the age of 18 when for hundreds of thousands of dollars at a time at the age of 18, when they can't provide that they can get a job, let alone make $10,000 a year. That seems like a really bad deal. And maybe it has something to do with the colleges, not the government, Booker. Germany, it costs between 0 and 4% of median income to go to college, and yet they are taxed like 7,000%. Canada, I can't stand how they're out-Americaning us in Canada. Trudeau, give me a break. It costs about 6 or 7% of the median income to go to college. Once again, the price of college does not mean anything for our government. Our government should not be involved in the price of college. You moron. What does it cost in America? He asked rhetorically. 52% of the median income. And why are other nations out-Americaning us? Why are they out investing in infrastructure that we used to? Why are they investing in research and development the way that we used to? Why are they investing in education the way that we used to? I am Spartacus! He didn't actually add that part at the end. That was just me. But you can see where this is going. You know, to calm things down, don't forget, go to our website until the end of the month. Get your Trump Pool t-shirt, now in gold, because it is only around for this month, and it will be gone by the beginning of November. If you do go there, you go to the shop, you can also get some good mugs. They are great, embossed, wonderful things that everybody should have. You can also become a Defender with us on go to DOA Show. Sign up to be a Defender with us. It's $5 a month, $50 a year. And if you go for the year, you go for the annual, you can either get the shirt I'm wearing, or you can get the hashtag I See What You Did There t-shirt, which is the handle that we use on Twitter. Anyway, this is Steven at the DOA Show. You guys have a great night.